although we think it is my body, my sense, I can use it the way I want, I can enjoy the way I want, my mind, I can think the way I want, I can produce those thoughts which give me gratification. Although we think like that, although we think we are the controller of our own body and the different aspects of our body, we are not. We are actually not. This is the higher meaning of understanding Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. That I will utilize my senses in the service of the Lord. That is called Bhakti. When you have that intention and that desire, then you start doing it. Then you are performing Bhakti. Otherwise, when you think that I can utilize my senses for my own sensual experience, contact of the senses with the sense objects, and the pleasure I derive from that, or the seeming pleasure I derive, or the thinking that I can derive pleasure from that. These are all the real so-called happiness. Indriya Sukham. Sukham Aindriyakam Daityat Dehayogena Dehina Sarvatra Labhyate Daivat Yata Dukkhamayatnatah. This type of Indriya Sukham, happiness coming from sense objects, contact with the senses, that is available to every species of life, not only to human beings. This is one interesting thing we should know. Don't think you are the only one enjoying. Even an insect is enjoying. When the mosquito sucks blood, it is enjoying. You see, there's a famous pastime of Prabhupada where he saw the cockroach in his room. And he said, "Cockroach." And then he very daintily took it, I think with some paper or stick, threw it out of the window and said, "Go enjoy. Go and enjoy." The way he looked at that living entity, he has come to enjoy particularly in a particular way certain things that he has developed a liking for in this material world. So he has taken a body to enjoy that in that particular way. And that body is provided by material nature, the body of a cockroach, and that living entity is sitting inside that and enjoying that. What is enjoyment? He goes into small crevices, dark places. You see in your toilet basin on the side, he will be hanging. Dark places. And he enjoys there licking all these things, putting his feelers up and down. He is having his sense enjoyment. Not only you. Every living entity. Sukham Maindriyakam Daityat. Dehe Yogena Dehina. Deha. Any type of body they accept to suited, designed for one type of enjoyment or different types of enjoyment that particular living entity wants to enjoy. That's why there are 84 lakh species. And all of them are given senses to contact the object of the senses. And then by the interaction of the object of the senses with the sense organs, they think that they are enjoying. They can be in that great illusion. In this way, this fantastic design, simply because the living entity wants to enjoy separated from Krishna. So much of arrangement. You see? The arrangement is so elaborate. Body designed for you. So, that so-called enjoyment, you see, we should nicely understand this. Provided by Krishna. What a massive arrangement. 84 lakh species. Means 84 lakh types of bodies in which the soul can go and enjoy variety of experiences. And we compete and desire, even in the human form of life, to enjoy like that, to enjoy like this. And the human beings, with all their intelligence, they try to enjoy in their imaginative ways. Oh, more and above what Krishna has provided for them through the senses and the objects. They want to vary that. They try to have permutations and combinations of the already existing arrangement given by creating artificial situations. So in this way, such a deep dedication for enjoyment we can see through the senses. That is why provision is given. Committed to sense enjoyment. That's the meaning of the conditioned soul. Committed to this type of enjoyment. And for that Krishna has provided. So this tripartite, triangular arrangement. One is the senses, sense objects, then the controlling deity. Adhyatma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Deva. The Devas controlling. Sense of touch, Vayu. Like that, different types of demigods. That is why something in your system may not work properly. And then you can think that particular demigod is not allowing me to do it. Then if you check into your horoscope, you will have that type of karma wherein that type of enjoyment is not allowed for you. Even though it is right in front of your nose, so close, you can enjoy that. You can see your karma, your past activity will not allow you to enjoy something in a particular way. And you will lament that. And you will try to enjoy through your senses, through the situations. But that particular demigod can withhold that enjoyment for you. In this way, your karma will come into effect. And in this way, you will enjoy or suffer. That is why you want to propitiate those demigods, because they give you sense gratification. That is why there is such a close relationship between living beings and demigods. They are automatically attracted to them. Even if they know Krishna is a Supreme Personality Godhead, still on the side they want to do a little homa, yajna, some worship, some archana for some demigod. The relationship is so strong because it's sense gratification. Whenever in the material world any relationship is developed on the basis of sense gratification, on the basis of a deal, an exchange, you give me that for my enjoyment, I give you this for enjoyment, the attraction and the commitment is very high. Very high. The best way to get people to, be listening to you is to give them sense gratification. The best way to control anybody is to offer him gratification. He will come under your power. You see? That is why husbands are very obedient to the wives. The whole arrangement is like that. So when you get sense gratification, then you become very, very aligned. So this material world is designed in such a way that sense gratification is the motivating factor. That's why you can buy off people by giving them money. You give them sense gratification, they'll do anything. In India, you go to any government office, anywhere, anything you want to done. When I find it always very difficult. But when I see these professionals, they come and say, oh, that we can do. I always wonder how you will do that. I have been trying it for years together. They won't give me permission. They won't do that. They won't do this. That we can do. Swamiji, you may not know these things. We will do it. And I see they do it. Because I see they just go straight away and said, I'll give you this. How much you'll give? Tuck. His job is done. Job is done. But when they look at people like us, so, oh my gosh, I will not get anything from this fellow. And then they run away from you. Two things. One is, it's religiously not good for me to take anything from this person or ask anything from him. Number two, he may not give and I cannot do without he giving because I have so many partners in the department. Better run away from this person and they never like to meet you. But I know this is this and I tell that if you want some help, no. Swamiji, we should never take anything. Therefore, I shall never do for you because I cannot take anything from you. In this way, it's locked into some type of a kaldi sack. It will not move like this even if I say. But then I get away from it. I send a message saying, I'm not in charge, I'm not handling it anymore. And then send another person who knows how to do it. Immediately, it's done. Within 1 day, 2 days, it's done. You see. So sense gratification, subtle, gross, is the best motivating factor for living entities. You can study yourself. When you get excited and motivated, you get alive when there is prospect of gratification. So this is how it is happening. Tripartite. The sense object and the senses. There is contact. Ihi samparshaja bhoga. Samparshaja bhoga is enjoyment. Bhoga available. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sanghasteshu pajayate sanghat sanjayate kama. Desire. When you see the sense object, prospect of enjoyment springs, you become alive, you become enthused. Senses become enthused. Ooh, prospect of enjoyment. This is how we get motivated. The opposite of that is spiritual life. No, don't. You become morose. Because for so many janmas, this is how you have been excited. This is how you have been happy. This is how you have inspiration. This is how you have motivation. This is the prime way. And then all of a sudden you are told, no. Don't. Senses, sense objects separate. Very difficult thing to do. Try as you might, you will get morose only because you are not allowed to have gratification. For some people who are very gross sense gratification is all that means. In the level of the mind and intelligence, or at least in the level of the intelligence, not much is required. So gross sense gratification, okay. Some other people, intellectual gratification, that's more fine, you'll never know. You will never be able to know. Then on the level of the false ego, most subtle gratification. Then in the level of the spirit, gratification, I want to be one. Brahmasayujyam, want to merge. That's highest, subtlest gratification. The Mayavadis, impersonalists, on all other levels they look like fantastic yogis. Complete control of the intelligence, of the mind. And you think, wow, what a person. Body, everything controlled. But what's the desire? Want to merge. Spiritual gratification for yourself. Don't think that spiritual life is only meant for Krishna. You are spirit soul. I can have spiritual gratification. I want to enjoy. Spiritually, I merge. Brahmasayujyam. That is why devotees don't like it. Devotee means I am a devoted person. I serve. It's complete opposite of this. The next level, intellectual gratification. I think, I collect information, gyan, and then I do this, that, everything and propose a theory. Yesterday I was speaking to a gentleman who was saying, I am reading 10th canto and giving commentary. Why did Krishna go for hunting after and killed rabbits and dear innocent beings. But on the other side, we are told this. These are all questions to be answered. Of course, he may be doing it in a nice way also. So we can get different types of gratification on the intellectual level. We can get all sorts of experiences, and you can become stuck on the intellectual level. Gratification. On the mental level, most popular, mental and physical level is the most popular gratification. Very closely tied gratification of the tongue, gratification of the ears, of the eyes, of the smell, touch, taste, everything. All these things, a particular nice mental disposition, emotional, soothing, massage, all these are all gratification at various levels, and we are all conditioned to this. This is material life. Material life means these are the important things. I am spirit, soul, servant of Krishna is forgotten. Krishna is forgotten, service is forgotten, you are forgotten. Na kartritvam na karmani lokasya sajati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. He does not do. The soul, asango hi ayam purushaha, asanga, is actually not involved in this whole material tabernacle that Prabhupada explains. He is like a drop of oil inside water you put. It will be separated. Like that he is situated here. Although he is spirit, although really he is not doing, although he is not able to actually perform these amazing arrangement activities that Krishna has given, he is involved only there in the great illusion of thinking that I am this body. But actually he is not doing anything. Material nature and the demigods and the sense objects and the senses, all these are arrangements of material nature. And he is simply there situated and getting that illusory feeling, I am enjoying. This is it, this is it. So much forgetfulness, complete forgetfulness. See, this is how the soul is situated. Prakriti sthani karshati, Krishna is explaining. In Prakriti, sthana, situation, karshati, struggling. This is not my place. I don't know who I am. I don't know what is happening. As soon as you are born, from then onwards, everything is mysterious. But we have all sorts of philosophies, all sorts of education, and we somehow get gelled, synchronized with what is happening. And we call that education. Education means you should know why it is happening like this. Not that you have to agree with it and get synchronized. Material education is not an explanation of why things are happening. Material education is this is happening like this. Merge with it. Understand it this way. Synchronize with it. Adjust yourself with the material world. You have to live inside that. We accept it. We synchronize with it. And we think we are that. That's what is material life. Aham mameti. I am this body. Janasya moho aham mameti. You completely accept. But Krishna is telling, no. Na kartritvam na karmani lokasya sajati prabhu. That Prabhu, that so-called person who thinks he is the master of the body, he is not doing anything. Na kartritvam na karmani. He is not the doer, he cannot do anything. He doesn't produce anything. Na karma phala samyogam. He is not even enjoying his karma phala. Not even experiencing that. He is simply acting swabhavastu pravartate. According to the material modes pushing him, he is just acting like a machine. He is not involved. It's an amazing thing. You are just like a robot. But you identify so much with the material feelings and with the happenings. You think it's because of you, but you are not doing anything. You cannot do these things. It's a powerful arrangement of material nature behind that Krishna. All this arrangement for you to enjoy the illusory feeling, I am the Lord and Master. Inside that arrangement come the senses, sense objects. You see? That is why a very deep analytical study is given here by Krishna. Where you are situated as spirit soul, what is around you, how you are packed, the packing that is done on you, you cannot escape. Not only the physical gross packing of the body, very nicely entrapped in the mind, intellect, and total forgetfulness of yourself. Then only you can enjoy foolishly sense gratification. So-called enjoyment. Actually, very foolish. So Prabhupada explained in the video, man is the sum total of all foolishness, he told. When I heard the video first, I said, what is he saying? We are an intelligent race. We are powerful, we are that, we are this, we shoot rockets into space. We do all sorts of things. And here is a monk coming to America and saying, man is the sum total of all foolishness. You see? Because of this, if you do not understand this is a science. So Krishna is explaining, where is your coordinates in space? Where are you situated? Do you know that? Do you know how you are packed very nicely? Everything is in the packaging nowadays. Everything is in the packaging. It's not new. Our material nature already knows about it. We are already packaged very nicely. And we look at other people's packages and get attracted. The package very good here. Very good package. And on the big hoarding, you see how I am packaged. And on top of that, I am wearing this package. Like this, we get attracted to other packaging. We are also packaged. You don't see. You don't see. So, this education is so important to tell people that you are not this body, this sensual experience that you have, you're just getting fooled. The real experience which you can have, whatever you're having here through your material senses, can be had by you through your spiritual senses. Awaken your spiritual body, your spiritual identity. Who are you originally? And billions of times greater enjoyment. It doesn't stop spiritual enjoyment just with becoming one with Brahman. But if you start serving Krishna, that enjoyment of serving the supreme spiritual personality, who is the original enjoyer, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sukhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatvam Shantim Richati. I am the original enjoyer. Rishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam. That's why, if I can learn not to kripana, foolishly, miserly enjoyment for myself, instead see how Krishna can enjoy and serve as a servant, then your enjoyment becomes billionfold. This is a premise. This is a fact mentioned. But it is so difficult for the living entity to believe, how can I stop my enjoyment and work for somebody else's enjoyment? For Krishna's enjoyment. Who is that Krishna? How do I know him? How am I related to him? How will by him enjoying, I will enjoy? This is all too much to understand. This is spiritual life actually. Understanding that and starting to do that, diametrically opposite. No enjoyment for me. I am not interested in my enjoyment. I am simply interested in satisfying Krishna. This is the attitude of the gopis. Gopi is completely free from the idea of sense gratification. No association with anything to do with senses, material sense objects, or anything to do with the controlling deities. Nothing directly associated with Krishna. That's what happens to you. If you chant Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you're contacting Krishna. You're serving Krishna. In your original spiritual position, you're serving Krishna. Krishna is getting pleased with you. And you're actually giving Krishna that pleasure. In turn, you become free from addiction to sense gratification in this illusory way. You awaken to real sense pleasure. Right? This is what Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, His Divine Grace, has taught us. And this is a very clear philosophy, higher understanding, how to transcend cheap material gratification and promote ourselves to supra-mundane, high-class enjoyment. And as we progress in that, we will lose taste for association of the objects of the senses with the senses. And we will become enlightened. So that's why every devotee, every spiritualist, he will understand, I am not this body, I am not the enjoyer. This is all a big racket. It's a big game, material nature, just to cater to my illusion. And in this way, intelligently, chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim, very intelligently, you will cut the bond, cut that knot, and become free from the stupid enjoyment which is enslaving you, janma after janma, life after life, and he becomes liberated into real enjoyment. See, yahi samparsaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavantahi kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. He understands that this so-called sensual pleasure is coming always with suffering. Adyantavantahi kaunteya, from beginning to end it is like that only. Nateshu ramate buddha. The little intelligent person who says something is wrong. It's not correct. If you have little intelligence, you can see this type of material enjoyment is not really a good deal for the spirit soul. That's why Krishna is speaking this in great detail for us to understand where we are situated. What is our notion in material life? It really requires some intelligence. That intelligence Krishna is saying, I will give you. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam upayanti te tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. If you chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you will get this intelligence. Tesham satati yuktanam. He remains connected with me. Bhajatam priti purvakam. With great love, he worships me. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadramai ki. Dadami, I will donate. I will give intelligence. In Krishna's educational program, he knows you don't have intelligence, but he admits you with low IQ. He admits you and then he says, I give you intelligence. You become my student. This is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's movement, educational institution is lowest of IQ, you are my best student. Because you can depend completely on Krishna, because you have no IQ. Right? And I give you. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Krishna is saying, I'll give you. Ye namam upayanti te. So that you will come to me. So we just have to desire to become servants, to become pure servants. And Krishna is providing the facility. Everything is subsidized, including intelligence. Government can give only subsidy in the form of financial arrangement. But Krishna is subsidizing IQ, intelligence. Can you ever seen anything like that? He's saying, what is the meaning of subsidy? Subsidy means not everything is given. Tesham nitya vyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. What you have, I will keep. What you don't have, I will give. This is real subsidy. The original subsidy was started by Krishna. Yogakshemam vahamyaham, original subsidy. And then what? Not only material items or material objects or material abilities, intelligence also. It's a material commodity. Tadami buddhi yogam tam. That also I'll subsidize. That also I'll subsidize. You have so much intelligence, remaining I'll give you. This way one can transcend material modes. So this is a wonderful arrangement. Krishna is explaining to us how you are stuck, and then he's telling, I will give this to you. You do this. You just chant Hare Krishna, and all things I'll give you. You can come back to me. Earlier the deal was different. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Everything you surrender to me. Then Krishna found that these people are not doing it. They are very dedicated to sense gratification. So he came back, okay, only chanting Hare Krishna. Everything else remains the same. Subsidy increased. You don't have to do anything. Just chant Hare Krishna. Now the living entity can become super foolish by saying, oh, now also I will not do. Not enough. But if he is a little intelligent, it's a very good deal. And he can take it up. Become free from sense gratification. And become intelligent. Go back to Godhead. This is Srila Prabhupada's movement. Om Tat Sat Srila Prabhupada ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Nittai Gaura Premanande. Any questions? Any comments? Yeah. Question is, mother and child, the relationship is highest or purest, at least in the material world. And in that the sense gratification is lowest. How we can learn from that? Very long-winded reasoning. Prabhupada explained that in principle he said there is no demand for anything in return. That's the element we should look at. Mother is not demanding anything in return. Though in Kali Yuga, maybe they are making an investment when they are young so that in the future they can get returns. We don't know. Sometimes Kali Yuga, there are always hidden agendas. But when there's a child as a child, there is no asking for any return. Sense gratification always means exchange and returns. You do this for me, I do this for me. You do this for me, I do this for you. This is this is what you need, I know that. This is what you need for your gratification, and I need that. Well, it doesn't bother us, both of us, so we exchange. But there is no deal between mother and child. There is no deal, actually. But there is a subtle obligation. Maybe the child may feel, but that's up to the child. Even if he doesn't render that obligation, still the mother is not asking for it. All the mother may ask for is, continue to see me, continue my relationship with you. I want to be able to serve you. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother said. I want to be able to see you. I want to be able to cook for you again and give. He said, I know what you want. Every day you cook, I'll come and eat it. And many times she saw that she is somewhere here in Navadvip and he is in Puri. But when she cooked and offered, she saw a plate is empty with little bit of things that he's eaten and left. And she knew that he's eating. Became very happy, even though he's not physically present. So, just that, the most. So Prabhupada encouraged that although a person may be fully joined up in the temple and all that, they can cater to that with the parent or with this thing. Give them that, reciprocation. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to be physically present. If you do it intelligently, you don't have to be physically present. In the same way, we can understand that in our situation where we are stuck in sense gratification, if we can take away the deal, expectation, then at least you will be in one stage that Krishna explains in 12th chapter. If you cannot do this for me, at least do this. It comes down stage. Krishna's deal is like this. Okay, I know that you are so stuck and so attached. At least you give in charity. Don't give it to me. You don't want to give it to me? No. Give it to Red Cross Society. Give to Salvation Army. Give to the Annadanam. Give to the orphanage. At least you don't enjoy it yourself. That's why people like God. That's very good. Give. Don't give to God. That range is very popular. You go and ask temple Ratha Yatra, can you give? I will never give for a temple. For religion, I don't give. Tell me you want to give some Annadanam, food, clothing, I will give. Very popular it is. Actually, they don't like to give Krishna, that's why. It's simply that. Because of heavy sense gratificatory mode that they are in. They see Krishna, they see devotees very, very different way. They see them as threats to their sense gratificatory situation. Their comfort zone, they see them as threats to that. So Krishna is saying, don't worry, give it to first step. After you've done that for some time, right, you can at least work without results. At least if you can give to me next, your result of your work. Then finally work completely for me. Like that, in stages. So sense gratification and work are very closely tied. In fact, all work is sense gratification only. Though they say work is worship, no, sense gratification is worship. That's what it is. Otherwise, why should work become worship? Stupid work cannot become worship. It's all the underlying psychology of the living entity. So we can learn this and step by step peel. Little by little we have to peel and take out and we can see ourselves what we are doing. You see, we want to see ourselves inside. This peeling is like, I saw this thing on the internet says that self-realization is like peeling the onions. With every peel you take out, there'll be tears. Lots of tears come. You reveal. But then actually you become blissful inside. Although externally you have tears, internally you feel you have made great progress. So we have to do that if we really value ourselves. Right? Om Tat Sat. Any other question? Yes, Mataji. After. No, go ahead. Yes, practice. Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Krishna has explained. There is no shortcut. Welcome to the world of conditioned souls. Kirtaneshwara Gaura. Hari Bol. So, it's a valid question that we are addicted to sense gratification. Prabhupada uses this word, addicted to sense gratification. You know what's the meaning of an addiction? Addiction means, although you know it is bad, you will do. That's the meaning of addiction. Addiction to alcohol, addiction to smoking, all that. Although they know it's bad, they're stuck. So, it's become a habit. Because we have lived here for so long in the same situation, within the same material body, with the same tripartite arrangement, sense objects and controlling DD and everything together. We have lived for long in these conditioned situations. But Krishna is promising a quick relief. So although we may be at times entangled, but if we very sincerely pray in helplessness to Krishna, then it is only Krishna through his agencies, Guru, Vaishnava and temple, books of Prabhupada, Charanamritam, Prasadam, Kirtan, Bhajan, through all these different ways Krishna works on you. If you allow yourself to be worked upon, surrender yourself to this process, then definitely gradually you will be relieved. It's not going to happen overnight, that for sure. So we should be patient and we should try. Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Doesn't matter, sometimes we flip a little bit. That also Krishna has mentioned. That apichet sudaracharo bachate ma mananyapak sadureva samantavyaha kshipram bhavati dharmatma sasvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanahi name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. The senses and the sense objects, they look like the sense objects look like they've overcome the senses. Sometimes, unable to in any way control yourself. But Krishna is assuring in Bhagavatam. You see, he says that Badhyamano api madbhaktaha Vishayan ajitendriyaha. This is mentioned here. Vishaya, sense objects. Ajitendriyaha. They have conquered the senses, it looks like. Badhyamano. He has become stuck. Madbhaktaha. Badhyamana api madbhaktaha. Vishayan ajitendriyaha. Prahus pragalbhaya bhaktya. Vishayan nabhibhuyate. But because he is my devotee, is engaged in services, the sense objects will not overcome him. Because I am in charge of the sense objects. I am on the backside. I will just have to do the needful. I will not allow my devotee, because he is my devotee, he renders service to me, he chants the holy name and he prays to me, Ai nandatanuja kinkaram patitam vam vishame bhavam budau vishaya ambudau. In this material ocean of sense objects, sense gratification. Kripaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisham vichintaya. This is the meaning of devotee. Devotee means realistic. These things will happen to him. It's not idealistic. Some Mayavadis are very idealistic. He is realistic. He is always depending on Krishna, crying to Krishna. And Krishna is saying, I will not allow the sense objects to overtake my devotee. That's a guarantee. So we should always remain positively oriented and keep trying and increasing our Krishna conscious activity, because we have a formidable enemy, our mind and these material objects. So if you want to overcome that, you should become attracted to Krishna as a supreme object of attraction, and you should develop taste for devotional service. So let's work on that. That's the way to do it. Mataji? So you made a statement here now. Whatever devotional service we are doing because we like to do that. Then you said, how can we make sure that our devotional service will satisfy Krishna? These two things you mentioned. Right. So when you start doing devotional service, not for you to enjoy, but for Krishna to enjoy, then Krishna will enjoy. Now, that's also one stage in our devotional service, wherein we try to do that type of service which will be comfortable for us, liked by us. So that is considered to be a initial stage, wherein we do things that are liked by us. I am a photographer, so if you give me devotional service to do with photography, I will do. Fine. That's how we. Very good. You're a photographer. Do for Krishna. Right. I do photography for Krishna. Afterwards, I develop slowly a love for Krishna because I did that for Krishna. When I develop a love for Krishna, then if Krishna asks me to do something else, also I will do because I like Krishna. So if he asks my mother, she does so many things for me and all that. So mom sometimes, can you just do this for me? Can you go to the shop and get this? I'm going to the college. I've got to go here. Anyway, but mom has, like to go and do. Out of love and affection, we start doing things for Krishna. Then you will understand that you started doing things whether I like it or not, like the mother does for the child. Because Krishna likes it, I do it. You see, Krishna is telling Uddhava in the same chapter, I think. Uddhava, the gopis, they dress themselves. They get up in the morning, bathe, dress themselves very beautifully, all for me only. Not for themselves. Women don't dress themselves for somebody, they dress for themselves only. Right? But Krishna is telling, they dress themselves for me, for my pleasure. They don't even think one bit about themselves when they dress themselves. All the gopis get together and dress up Radharani, make her up beautifully, present to Krishna. Why? Krishna will be pleased. But not a tinge of that type of desire. So that is the limit. That's the highest limit. At least we can do a little bit from our side. Slowly, slowly. So this beginning is nice, that we like to do the things that we like to do. I am a good cook. I offer to Krishna. Krishna accepts it. Very nice. But slowly we start doing things that I may not like it, but Krishna likes it, therefore I do it. That's pure devotional service. Right? So slowly we should get to that stage. So sometimes the Guru tells you to do something. Of course, he is very careful, he nicely puts it. Some disciples pick it up fast and say, I'll do that. Some disciples say, oh, I think something is coming, I better pay obeisances and go away. Some of them cannot understand what's coming. Right? So sometimes the Guru says, I wish somebody would do this. And then the disciples, one of them picks it up. Or on the other side, you have disciples who would try not to meet the Guru, but give donation separately. So that if the Guru directly meets you, he may say, can you do this, can you do that? A big problem for me. So like that, according to your stage, according to your situation, if you offer yourself in Krishna's service, Krishna also is very carefully knowing your situation because he is in your heart. So we should progress, and that is our ideal state, real state. Anyabhilashi tashunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. Uttama bhakti. So that's the meaning of our devotional service, from conditioned state to pure state. Right? Okay. Any other question? Hari Bol Devaki Jivan, Hare Krishna. Again, I like to say, welcome to the world of conditioned souls. A conditioned soul will behave like this, helplessly. See, I told you habit, addiction to sense gratification, false ego, thinking in these ways. So we think, I am capable, I am able to do. And Krishna allows you to do, although you think like that. But then he wants to correct you. So after you become fixed up in so-called devotional service, then he shows you what you're really doing. What is your feeling inside when you're doing? So we have to correct ourselves. It's very nice that you have noticed such a thing. That itself is a great thing. That you have noticed, that means you are sensitive and you want to improve in that manner. That is a healthy sign. That is, you are criticizing yourself. That is easier to do than taking criticism from somebody else. That's a little difficult. But if both of them coincide, like somebody criticizes you and you say, thank you, now I understood. I think this is true about me. Then that's humility. That's humility. So it's nice, and everybody should introspect. You know that famous fairy tale, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the most beautiful of them all? You've heard that? Hans Christian Andersen, that olden. The magic mirror will tell you, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the best of them all? So this is our internal mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what is wrong with me? Everybody is complaining. We have to ask ourselves internally. And then we will be told, because super soul in the heart will reveal from inside, from outside. And we should take that and we should pray to Krishna, determine ourselves to change And only by Krishna's blessing, only by Guru's blessing, only by Vaishnava's blessing, these wonderful things can happen to us. Definitely it will happen also if we continue to remain humble and want to change. Om Tat Sat. Again. Hari Bol. Oh, it's a very subtle question. Indriyani parani ahur indriyebhya param manah manasastu parabuddhir yo buddhe paratastu saha. That subtler than the body and the senses is the mind, and subtler than the mind is the intelligence, and subtler than that is the false ego. Subtlest of them all is the soul. So, false ego means control. You want to control. That's one simple explanation. So you want people to listen to you. In the ordinary world it happens. And you become very frustrated if somebody doesn't take up your idea, your suggestion, doesn't listen to you. Then you become very affected. And although you may philosophize in a nice spiritual way about it, see, they don't listen because of this, because of that, or this is happening because of that, this. Right inside us, we may be not surrendered to the situation and to Krishna. And that's what Krishna is trying to do, trying to teach us at that level. Remain surrendered. It may be even devotional service. And we may think, this is just service for Krishna. No, it may be service for Krishna, but you may be using it to control somebody and getting some rasa. We never know. And Krishna, how he'll reciprocate by not allowing it to happen. But it is service to Krishna, it must happen. But it is not happening because you are not surrendering so that it may happen. So it's one example. It's very subtle how we can, out of our own, false ego means what? False ego means ahankar. Aham kara. I am the doer. Not God, not anybody else. But I want to be the doer. So, how do? I can do physically. Where your understanding is very low, that means everything happens by physics. I can do mentally. I can do intellectually. I can play power games and very subtly have it under control and make you do it. This is my rasa. I am the doer actually, but physically you are doing. Mentally you are doing, but I am making it happen. I am God, as good as. This is false ego. Very subtle. Just give you a crude example, since it's very subtle. So, a devotee, he tries, and if it does not happen, he tries again and again and again. And he increases his surrender to Krishna, increases his prayer to Krishna, surrenders to Krishna completely. And then when things happen, then you know it is completely because of Krishna only, not because of me. Then you are false ego free in your devotional service. And Krishna is using you as an instrument because you have no false ego. Then you can become nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Be free. Nakartritum nakarmani lokasya sajati prabhu. You cannot do anything, you will not do, you are not doing. I am the doer. I am making it happen. Understand this. Then you become free. Then I use you as an instrument. Then, in your humble state, You will do so many things for me, and you will never think it is me. You never think it is me. All the time, you will not think it's me. Whether you fight for me, even if you kill for me, you will know I am just an instrument. This is Krishna's instruction to Arjuna. Then is ego free. False ego free. But not ego free. False ego free. Ego means I am a servant of Krishna. I take pride in that. I am a servant of Krishna and I am being used as an instrument by Krishna and I am proud to do it. I have my pride as a devotee, but I have no false ego. These are two compatible things. I have my pride as a devotee. I am a servant of Krishna. It's no ordinary thing. But I have no false ego. I am not the doer. These are two compatible things. They can go side by side. That's the mystery of a devotee. As you can see when you see Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada romping, moving around the whole globe and preaching, you can see, yes, pride that he is a devotee, and anybody does anything, speaks against devotional service, against devotee, against Krishna, and knock you strongly. At the same time, completely dependent on Krishna, all the time on Guru, Krishna, Vaishnavas. So he is powerful person who will yell, scream when you do something against. At the same time, it's very humble. So we should learn from watching Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and all great followers of Prabhupada. In this way, we should give up false ego and surrender to Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Jayendran. That depends on what you define Karma Yoga as. It looks like you have already defined it as something. Prabhupada explains that through your work, connecting up with Krishna is Karma Yoga. Very simple definition. What is your work? Not the job you have in Microsoft or Infosys or Maruti Suzuki. Work means, described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, according to your guna karma, according to your varna ashrama. That is work. Sve sve karmanya viratah samsiddhim labate naraha. Whatever you are supposed to do according to your varnashrama situation, for the pleasure of Vishnu, for the sake of Vishnu, what we do. That is mentioned. Ata pumbhir dvijashreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha swanushthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. For the sake of pleasing Hari, what we do to Varnama and Ashrama, that is Karma Yoga. That is Karma Yoga. Our mind plays all sorts of tricks because again we want to rationalize many things that we are doing and thinking and feeling and willing to be as a following genuinely. But then we should understand the definition from first principles. And therefore, we should act according to that. So when we actually directly do for the sake of Krishna, that is devotional service. Does not matter if we cannot do that completely. That's what in the 12th chapter says. You can do like this, like this, like this, like this, Krishna is saying. So we can do in whichever state we are in, so that we can render our service to the extent that we can. Then that becomes to that level, that percentage you are rendering service to Krishna. And other things you are doing because you need to live in this world according to the... Slowly we will increase that. I hope that is understood. From? Yeah? Ecuador, South America, I think. I feel like that. I feel like that with the life of my kids. Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna, from here, deep South India. You are right that you are sensitive to your responsibility towards your kids. Madhvacharya, he mentioned that the parents are guru to the kids, the employer is the guru to the employee, the husband is a guru to the wife. Like this, in human society, we have a natural guru role to play. That responsibility is naturally there, nobody can be without it. In ISKCON, the guru is designated maybe. Your Diksha Guru. Nowadays, people call, I have so and so Siksha Guru. Like that. But in Vedic culture, it's already prevalent. You don't have to be labeled Guru to take that responsibility. The mother automatically feels the responsibility. The father feels the responsibility. Right? So, it's true. Like you in the Bhagavatam, Gurur na sayat, Pitri na sayat, Janani na sayat. Don't become father, don't become parent, don't become this thing. If you cannot liberate your dependents, show them the path back to Godhead. True, you must feel that responsibility. And whether you become Guru or not does not matter. This responsibility of directing people correctly. People feel responsibility of giving sense gratification to their kids in the future. That's not the responsibility we're talking about. All my money I earn, I give him a house, I get him married, I put him in place, all these things. Please lead a successful material life. People who are totally ignorant of anything spiritual, they also feel material responsibility. That responsibility is not it's a sense gratificatory responsibility. For the sake of giving sense gratification to the future kids of yours, to your grandchildren also people plan. That responsibility is not the one. That partially may be included. Because we need to live in this world. We have to look after our own body, our mind. We need emotional security. We need physical security. We need social security. All these things, fine. But to what extent? That's not the major responsibility. The major responsibility is you should lead them back to Krishna. Even if you didn't take care of the other minor responsibilities, you should do the major responsibility. That's what the Bhagavatam says. If you fail in doing the major responsibility, then that's a huge failure. So, a spiritual responsibility you have towards your children, that is a major responsibility. Making them chant Hare Krishna, teaching them who is Krishna, making them worship Krishna, offer their food to Krishna. In this way you teach them, even though other things we are not able to do because of your karma, because of your situation, that doesn't really matter. You will be counted as a person who has perfectly executed a responsibility at the end of your life, if you have facilitated their Krishna consciousness. And even they will not feel bad. At the end of their life, they think, good, my parents, my mother actually did what is good for me. The rest is my karma I had to go through. But this is not part of my karma. But my mother facilitated that and made me a devotee. I am so grateful. Simply by the child rendering devotional service, you will get a big percentage of that, Sukruti. So this way, although we are not designated as Guru, we have a responsibility and we should facilitate other people's Krishna consciousness. Does not matter whether you have a designation or not. That pleases Krishna, pleases Prabhupada, pleases Vaishnavas. Right? And that's our duty. So it's nice that you feel that responsibility. Society should be made of people who feel the responsibility of guiding others into Krishna consciousness. Then it is a healthy society. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Om Tat Sat Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Nittai Gaur Premanande.